What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Movies That Make You podcast. Season 2 is in full gear, and so we are super excited for what we got going on this season. Just to let you know what that means, we still have our weekly Prepisodes where we discuss movies to watch in preparation for a new release hitting theaters. I got my buddy POPpaGoss on those each and every week. Those drop on Mondays at 6 a.m. Also, we have our Creators Conversations. This is where we're interviewing people from the business and beyond to discuss what they do to create and how they create their art. So be on the lookout for that on YouTube. We're also doing our monthly watch-alongs where we pick a movie to watch. We live stream our conversation while we're watching the film on YouTube. This week, Kristen's going to be on the show. We're going to all be discussing musician biopics in preparation for Michael being dropped in theaters Friday. We'll be discussing I Want to Dance with Somebody, Ray, A Complete Unknown, Back to Black, and Springsteen. We hope you also check out our website at moviesthatmakeyoupodcast.com. There you can see all of our social links. You can listen to the podcast. You can watch the podcast. We also have our merch store. You can find tons of merch for Movies That Make You and our friends. We also have a link to our letterbox where you can see all the movies that we watch in preparation for the new releases, but also the movies that make you laugh, the movies that make you cry, the movies that make you scream, and everything in between. So before we get to this week's episode, let's check out what we got coming up on the Movies That Make You podcast. On April 24th, we're going to be doing a live stream of our watch along of One Cut of the Dead. This is a great zombie movie we've talked about in a couple of podcasts already this year. So we're going to be doing that live watch along Friday night at 9 p.m. Central. And we're going to be inviting Kyle Valet and Aaron Anye, the creators of ZombieCon Volume 1. They're going to be back for the live stream. We're super stoked. So it's POPpaGoss, myself, and ZombieCon. We hope you'll join us. Next week, we're prepping for The Devil Wears Prada 2. Kristen's going to be back again. We'll be talking about a bunch of fashion movies such as Cruella, The Intern, Confessions of a Shopaholic, The Devil Wears Prada, and Legally Blonde. The week after that, we are kicking off Star Wars month with our first of 3 Star Wars episodes with Scott, Raymond, and Chris Valentine, who are going to be our experts for those weeks. May 4th, we've got the Animated Galaxy. We're going to be talking about all of the animated shows in preparation for the Darth Maul finale that drops that night. The week after that, we're taking a break from the Star Wars month for 1 week of Mortal Kombat. We're going to have Zeke back on the show to talk about the 90s versions of those films. And then Josh and I will discuss the most recent R-rated version. And we're excited for the new one that comes out. We hope you are too. The week after that, we are back to our Star Wars month with the live action shows with Scott, Raymond, and Chris Valentine as we discuss all of the Disney Plus shows in preparation for The Mandalorian and Grogu hitting theaters that Friday. Hope those episodes excite you. So without further ado, let's get to the podcast. We are back with another episode of the Movies That Make You podcast. I am Sprang. I'm joined by my co-host Kristen and my co-host POPpaGoss. Kristen's on the show because she likes music and she is a fan of Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Definitely. And so we watched a bunch of musician biopics, all in preparation for Michael dropping in theaters this Friday. And it's actually going to be part 1. Part 2 is already in the works, and it's going to be coming out probably next year. But the movie looks epic from the trailers for sure. Mm-hmm. So we're excited. We're going to talk a little bit about that. First, let's just talk about music in general. Kristen, what role has music played in your life?
I've always, growing up, we've always had music playing in the house. It was, my stepdad had a whole list of CDs. I mean, it was a whole wall of just CDs. But I just love it. It keeps me, I just love to dance too. So internally, I'm just always moving. But I love all different types of music. I'm not a huge fan of jazz, but I've kind of more bluegrass and really just enjoying that. But
yeah. What about you, Josh? I know we've talked a little bit about it on the podcast. You and I have some similar background.
Yeah, for sure. So music has always been in my family. My parents actually met at the University of Iowa. They were in a musical group together called the Newman Singers, which they still, I think last I checked, I think they always have new iterations of it. But they have new members and it's a kind of a big group. I remember when my parents were in it, I think it was 20 to 30 people total. But my dad went to the University of Iowa as a music major, believe it or not. So he was in the drum corps at Iowa. He got to be in the marching band at Iowa, which is so cool. He got to march in a bowl game back in the day. I forget which one. I think it was the Fiesta Bowl or something, or the Sugar Bowl or something. Um, and then he knows how to play a ton of instruments just because he's just music, like he knows how to read music. And he kind of wanted to challenge himself after college and when I was a kid. So I mean, he knows, amazing trumpet player. He got into trumpet after college, kind of, well, in college, but like right outside of college. And one of the coolest things was he got to lead the mass at the University of Iowa for one of the popes at the time.
Wow.
He came to
Nice.
town, and my dad like led the music, playing the trumpet for the mass that the pope held at the church.
Yeah.
So yeah, my dad, I mean, he's been in some jazz ensembles. He's a huge Bob Dylan fan. He's a huge Miles Davis fan. Miles Davis is like one of it. He knows, he had all of his albums. He had, like, when I was a kid, we would sometimes have them in the car and my dad would throw them on. But yeah, music's just always been part of our life. My mom was a singer. She played guitar, a little bit of piano. My brother he played saxophone in middle school, and then he switched to bass guitar. He took bass lessons from a touring bass player in Colorado, and I mean, he became really good at playing bass. Like, he would always practice in the basement at our old house. And then I got into music early on. I used to, obviously, Michael Jackson was like a huge part of my
Mhm.
life growing up. Thriller was like the first CD I ever got. My aunt bought it for me at the mall. It blew my mind because I had never heard anything like that before. And then I started studying like his music videos and watching his dance moves, and like just like what an entertainer he was, and
Mhm.
hearing all these stories growing up, like he was the king of pop. And um my aunt, actually, my dad's sister, my aunt Denise, she moved to Vegas when she was 19 out of Waterloo, Iowa, I think they were living at the time. And because she didn't know what her next step was going to be, and she became a waitress at a club, or in one of the casinos in Vegas. And she used to wait on like the Jackson Five and like all these like Motown people, and like the Jackson Five, when they'd come through, they would like ask for her personally to like serve
Wow.
them. And so she hung out with like little Michael, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love music. I mean, it's part of like why my parents met. So I mean, it has a huge importance. I used to sing in the church group in Colorado for like the special masses, like Christmas and Easter. I used to sing with like my parents. They'd invite me every once in a while. And then I performed a lot, when I was in elementary school. I did That Thing You Do with a friend of mine. We did because that movie had just come out at the time, and my mom made us these like shirts, and we wore sunglasses, and we had like little fake electric guitars that we bought at the store. And but yeah, as you can find that somewhere. My buddy in Missouri has that tape. His mom taped that talent show. But yeah, that was fun. So like I was always singing. I performed in college. I did some variety shows, and covered some songs with a friend. And it's just been, part of my life. Like, music will never leave me. And like my
Mhm.
family now, like Jess loves music. I mean, she's her family comes from Colombia. A lot of that like international music. Then Lennon, with his autism, like he loves music, all kinds of music,
So good.
like hardcore screamo music, metal, international music. He likes the pop groups. He's starting to get into like Lady Gaga now. And actually, it was really funny. Tub Thumping came on the playlist
Chumbawamba.
the other, yeah, Chumbawamba. And I hadn't heard that song in years. And he was like this was a couple of days ago. He was losing his mind in the back, like rocking out. So I
That's
told
great.
Jess, and she thought that was so funny. But my son, just he loves music, and with his autism, I think it ramps up. So like music's a good
Mhm.
like calming mechanism too for him. It's a good calming mechanism for everybody. So like music is really cool because there's something for everybody, even if you're not diehard into music. Like there's lighter stuff, or folk music, or whatever you want. Like
Yeah,
music's got you covered. So
for sure.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but like I played violin all through middle school. So that I did really well too. I loved sight reading. I loved that challenge. To me, it's like reading a book. Like once you know the letters, once you know the notes, you just start and you just go. And that was a fun thing in the high school here out in Wiley. They offered an adult class for free, and you could just go, and I ramped up and played for about a year, and just stopped playing because I started coaching. But also through gymnastics, we got to pick our floor music, and after compulsories, but for optionals, and that was just a lot of fun. I picked Yanni live at the Acropolis, right? Nostalgia song. So just I love it. Like anytime I hear classical music or any music without words, I come up with choreography in my head, and so I'm just constantly it just makes me happy. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
that's awesome.
Absolutely. Music has been a big part of my life. My parents were similar. They met in a musical group in college. They sang together and then they got married. My dad was a worship leader at a church when I was before I was born, after I was born. And then I after 5 years old, I picked up piano. I started taking lessons and then took lessons for piano for about 10 years. I had been singing, at I actually have like tapes of me singing at 2 years old, all the way through, till now. And so like singing, definitely a part of it, playing piano. And then I didn't pick up my dad's guitar. My dad played guitar, bought a guitar. He never learned how to play it before he passed away. So it was just in the closet forever. And then when I went to like my senior year of high school, like I decided like, hey, let's, pick up this guitar and see if I can learn some chords and see if I can learn how to play it. And then learned some chords from my youth pastor, and then went to college. And of course, in college, you're just like surrounded. It was Nashville, so surrounded by everybody plays guitar, right? So so just learned like by like just sitting around with other folks. And then Dave Matthews Band, I got introduced to them, and I just kind of was fascinated by the way he played guitar. And so I just tried to learn his songs because I felt like there was something unique about the way that he played that I wanted to play like that and not just kind of play like everybody else. So yeah, so I played and sang in a group in college for a couple years. And then I went to worship ministry out of college, and actually also formed a band at the same time. So I was writing music and trying to like, flex my muscles when it came to creativity and songwriting and artistry. And then ended up moving to Texas, and like within a few months I was playing down in Deep Ellum, Texas, because it was like we were starting a church for people that don't like church. And so we felt like, if I can get up on stage and, a place where church people don't normally go, then I could form relationships with people and like introduce them to like who we are and what we're trying to do for the world and stuff. And so I played out solo kind of stuff. And then like 2010, 2011, formed another band, and we actually put out EP, and then we were working on a CD, and then I needed to quit the band. I just kind of took a break, and now I've been, for the last 7-8 years, been playing around at different churches, trying to find places where they like would like somebody to come in and do like a set of songs while people are eating or whatever. Haven't had any luck here in Wiley yet, but I actually last year, 2 years ago now, got in the studio. We've talked a little bit about it on the podcast before, but got in the studio and put down 3 originals and then 1 cover song. Super proud of those songs. Some of those are
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Some of those are like 2007, like the Hate Me song I wrote as soon as we moved out here. Valentine, I wrote, part of it was like 2010, 2009. And then kind of rewrote it once I met Kristen, because her birthday's on Valentine's Day. And so I was like, I need to make this a little bit more specific to her, because she's my forever Valentine.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
And then Yeah, one of these days, I wrote it like 2015, I think. And then we did the Killers cover song. I kind of came up with that idea like 2018.
Cool.
So just kind of like putting some stuff out there, just kind of for my own sake. Like I've spent so much time in music, and it's like I don't have any definitive like versions of those songs that are like I've played them in my house. Like I don't have a way of like saying like I did that. And so it was like this was kind of a way of like creating a record that is this is this is my song, my music. It's not like me
It's
trying
you.
to, yeah, it's me. Sometimes playing in a band is tough because it's like you're trying, unless everybody just kind of gets on the same page, you're always compromising to make it so that it works for the band. And so that was fun. And there's something collaborative about that. That's all that you can come up with something completely unique because you're all coming from different angles, which is great. Um, this is an opportunity for me to like say, no, this is just all me. And this is my sound and the music I wanted to make. And so it's been fun. So that's been out now for a year and a half or so. And so we're, one of these days I'll get back in there and finish up the album, but we got 4 songs done. So
No, yeah, they're great songs. Yeah, I didn't talk about the my time in Denver too. I used to work for like as a street team and like sell merch for a bunch of my friends' bands. Some of them actually, you said Nashville. Some of them moved from Denver to Nashville, like right around the time I left Colorado. And but yeah, Denver used to have like an insane local music scene. Like I was there. I was there during the huge heyday when everybody was getting signed to labels like 303 and The Fray, and one of my brother and we had a band we loved called Single File that were on Warner Brothers Reprise Records. So yeah, we got a lot of cool opportunities because like we were in the thick of that. So like we were hanging out with a lot of those people. The Lumineers.
I love the Lumineers.
They're technically from New York City, but they moved to Colorado and then they got signed. But I've run into them at shows just randomly, and I've seen them live a few times. They're really good. But yeah, it was just a fun. I love being around music. I think my time in Colorado, I think I've been to over. I still have all my ticket stubs too. But I think I've been to like 350 concerts, and that's just my time, like basically in 16 years in Colorado. But
right.
Yeah, just I go to music festivals sometimes in Chicago and stuff, but I just love live music, especially. Is just so fun. And even like street music, like when you walk by somebody, like I think I always give people like at least just my time, just because like even if you don't like the music they're playing, like somebody is out there doing music, like that's I think people lose sight of like wanting to love something and just not differentiating that to just support. Because like I mean I lived through a lot of my friends' bands who just, they were so talented and they were so good, but they just never got like a real shot to do anything, because they just would book little small shows here and there, and they'd usually sell them out, and then they'd get cool opportunities here and there, but never took off. So music is just a hard industry. So
And I think you're being vulnerable. It's like you're you're putting yourself out there. It's art. It's something that you've created or you're doing a different version of, and it's especially going in public. I couldn't imagine. I think it would be fun. I really wish I could sing. Like I think I would love to. Well, I know I would love to be on a stage and just sing. But God said that's not for you. So I'm just gonna keep on doing that in my own car. But
that's all right. My brother is the same way. He like, bless his heart. I mean, he knows music. Like he's a great bass player and stuff. But yeah, he's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the rest
we
of
have
the
other
family.
talents.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I've even had my phases. Like I took a break from, because I used to sing in my car all the time, like in high school and growing up and all that. So like my voice was always, well trained. And then I took a lot of time off because I wasn't driving, and then when I moved here, I started like kind of getting back into it. But I have times where I'm like, oh, all right, my voice is pretty good right now. And then I'm like, oh God, I need to warm that. I need to pick a different song or try. And then sometimes I can sing a song really well, and then I'll sing it again later, and it's just awful. So I just go through phases. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually in 2013, 2014, I had vocal nodules 2 years in a row. I got nodes,
Oh God,
which
yeah,
is like death to some musicians.
yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't bad enough. I needed surgery, and so I was able to just rest it. So I had to like not talk for 3 months.
Could you imagine
Like,
this guy not talking for 3 months?
yeah. So I like had a
Yeah.
whiteboard to try and like, write messages to the family and everything. I still was like leading worship at the church, but I just wasn't singing. I was like just guiding the band just with eye movements and like, just hand signals and stuff. And then I also wanted to mention, well, I say that because you kind of mentioned kind of getting back in shape. Like that really forced me to like go and get lessons and like work with a vocal coach. And that really opened up my like ability. Like I'd never thought it, like I've always been kind of a baritone, I thought, and go into vocal lessons and my vocal coach basically saying nobody is anything, right? Like it's all about technique and like practice and literally the first lesson I sang the highest note I've ever sang in my entire life. Like, and he's like, "Oh, that's great. That's a high C." And I was like, "What?" Because he just kind of got me in that phase in like a warm up and just got me and I was just centered. And it was just like, he just kept going. And I just kind of kept trying to focus on keeping my body in the same position. I don't need to strain. I don't need to stress. I don't need to push. I just need to like let the note out. And it was just like, it just kept going. And so from that point on, it's like now, even just a couple months ago, I like had to figure out, like I was struggling in the mornings, like before, going to lead worship and like really feeling like I'm pushing these notes. And it's like, I don't need to try to do that. And so I found a song that I like that I can sing like easy and it's super high, but it's because of like just where I'm placing the note. I know that might be kind of hard to understand, but it's just where in my body, like where in my head is the note. And so like I started using that as kind of like my warm up. And then I'm like, oh, then it's just like super easy to just sing through everything without straining, without like feeling like I'm like gonna kill myself trying to get these notes out. But that's just like, I just can't imagine, like that's how a lot of musicians go through that too. Like John Mayer had vocal
I was gonna
nodes.
say John Mayer, Adele.
Yeah.
Adele had something similar.
I think there was one concert that Weeknd had to cut like in the middle. He's like, I don't know what just happened, but I have to stop singing. And it's just like Sam Smith also had vocal nodes too. So it's a thing if you don't.
Killers, that happened to the lead singer Brandon from the Killers. They actually happened at a Colorado show at Red Rocks. My buddy was at the show. This was like, I don't think their second album had come out yet, so they were still kind of touring hot off the first, like off of Hot Fuss. But yeah, they were like 2 songs in, and then he left stage, and then a doctor came out and said they had to postpone the show because his voice was just gone. So yeah, and then they came back in like 6 or 8 months later, and they did like an extra small show in Boulder, Colorado as well.
And then one last thing I did want to mention is our kids. You mentioned Lennon. Jacob is huge into music, loves music.
Super talented.
He played French horn in the school band and then picked up bass. And then, of course, I've shown him some guitar stuff. So he's been practicing guitar. He's been writing songs.
Nice.
And when he came back for Christmas, it was really cool because we got to sit down and I just grabbed the other guitar and just like he played chord and I just kind of noodled. I'm not a great like improvisational like guitar
I'm not
player,
either.
but it was like I can make some stuff work and I can do some stuff just to kind of feel like I'm, we're playing a song together. And then
it was like a nice little jam session. I mean, I went on for about 15 minutes. It was fun.
That's so fun.
And then I pulled out my electric amp and like hooked up all my pedals and like he just went to town. He's just, oh, this is it, because up there he only has an acoustic. And so, but then, and then Colton also has gotten really big into school band and playing French horn. He's on the concert
the wind ensemble, top
the
group.
top group at the school, and
They got to play at the Meyerson a couple
Yeah.
weeks ago, which
Yeah.
is
Cool.
a
So,
big
Yeah.
concert venue.
yeah. So music is a big part of
And Zeke
life. Zeke played for 1 year
clarinet.
Yeah, for 1 year.
That's
at
cool.
school.
They still have music at their school because that's a argument I have with a lot of people is like today. I mean, just most schools just don't. They either don't
Wow.
offer it in school because they don't have
Afford
the
it, yeah.
resources or the money for it. And then another part of it is like kids have to go outside of school. It's like almost like an extracurricular,
Yeah.
which like it's cool. There's places that still offer lessons and do all that, but a lot of them, the kids have to like seek it out on their own. Or I guess YouTube's been kind of big. Like you can kind of learn
Yeah,
from
get some-
YouTube,
yeah.
which is a free resource, but it's not the same feel as like being in. I did a lot of music classes growing. I mean, I like you, Kristen. I played violin for 1 year. And then when I went to middle school, I switched to I played baritone for 1 year, and then I hated it. I basically hated lugging they gave me like a really old one. The case was broke and stuff, so like it was just
that was
not
more
fun.
frustrating.
So I
Yeah.
switched to the much sexier of the instruments, the trombone, and that was so much more fun. Like I was in jazz band, and
Nice.
we played like Santana songs, and we did all like it was just so much. I was so happy. So I did that for 2 years. And then when I moved to Colorado, I switched to I learned guitar. And for anybody out there, like you can do anything musically. It's just if you have the will to do it and the patience. Guitar, especially, like I'm like you, Sprang. I can't play like solos and do all that stuff. But like chords, just learn the first, learn like the 4 major chords and just play them nonstop, no matter how annoying it might be. Like play them. Like that's all I did in my guitar class. I learned like, the 4 or 5 main chords, and then I just started like improvising with chords with that. And I mean, I'm not an expert guitar player by any means, but like you'll see improvement, and you can at least like tell people you can play guitar a little bit. So
Well,
it's pretty
flex.
fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's jump into the movies. That's kind of like why we're here. We are here to talk about these musicians and musicians that have made it somehow, and then kind of what their story ended up being like. We're going to start with Amy Winehouse biopic called Back to Black. Josh, what are some of your thoughts on just Amy Winehouse in general, like kind of the pop culture phenomenon that she was?
Yeah, I remember kind of right when she started getting big, like, you started seeing her more, because back when she first came out, like they still had some awesome music channels on like TiVo and or Direct TV or anything like that. So they still I used to watch Fuse TV religiously because they'd show like festival footage and like the UK footage and all that stuff. And I remember her. I had heard her big song, "Back to Black." I had heard it on the radio a couple of times, and I was like, "Oh, this is really unique. Like I haven't heard a song like this in quite some time." And then I saw her perform on it was either MTV or Fuse TV, one of the two. And just like the way she looked, and just kind of like she was real chill on stage, but she just had like something about her. But her voice was very unique, and like that first album was just, it was pretty groundbreaking. I mean, she broke some records at the time, I think, especially for a female artist, and she just kind of catapulted into the spotlight, and she was very talented. I mean, it's very sad she was gone way too soon. I mean, I think she was recording an album, or she was just
She was
finishing or
about
just
to,
starting.
yeah.
Well, when she passed away, and it's just sad, especially when they're below 30 years old. Like I mean, actors, actresses, singers, artists in general, like that's just way too soon, especially when they're just about to go even further into the stratosphere. So it's very sad, but yeah, I mean, she was the time she did spend, I know she made an impact on music, and I know people like really appreciate what she did with the time she spent here on Earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kristen, what are some of your thoughts on her music and then kind of with the movie?
Sure. So I actually didn't know her music at all. But watching the movie, I recognized a song that was in Great Gatsby. I love that soundtrack. Just it's got like Jay-Z and Beyonce and just kind of fun and just unique. And so when I saw the actress singing it, the way that she kind of like she transforms into this music. It's like she's not herself. It seemed like she seemed more she idolized her grandma, but she took that look, that 50s, 60s look, and just kind of turned it into the microphone. I just felt like she was just putting everything into her songs. That yeah, the actress who played it, we've seen her in the industry, and just she's phenomenal. I mean, I pulled up some of the videos and clips of Amy Winehouse, and just the way that she embodied that character or the artist, just blew me away. There was
Yeah.
a lot of pictures that looked just like her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Marissa Abella was who played Amy in the movie. And yeah, I didn't realize that her dad was also a musician, singer, and it kind of the movie kind of starts where she's in her hometown pub and everybody's kind of the band is singing and then she goes up and sings and she sings one of her dad's songs and like the whole place kind of goes nuts and so he's like a kind of hometown hero in that town and then she starts playing locally and then she gets signed and puts out the album and everybody was putting pressure on her to do another album and she basically says I'm going to take a break and then she has some relationship stuff so the guy that played Remick in Sinners also is in the movie. Jack O'Connell plays kind of a boyfriend type situation that kind of is like a kind of a toxic relationship for most of it. And then they end up getting married and all that. But throughout the running thread from start to finish is her struggle with alcohol. Like they did not pull any punches. It was like I was surprised at how much they showed of her struggle with alcohol and how that affected her relationships, how it affected her on stage. And then, of course, the movie kind of ends with her basically,
She'd gotten sober.
She'd gotten sober. She finally did go to rehab, even though, like, the song, that was a thing. They like the record label wanted her to go to rehab, and her dad said she's fine. And so that's literally the song, right? Like, it's like, wow, like this happened in real life. It reminded me a little bit more of Taylor Swift because it's like, these are like real life she's putting in these lyrics. It's not just some,
fantasy, like thought.
Yeah. Kind of not just some silly or some idea or like, it was real. But yeah, I mean, it ends up being to where, she gets sober for months. She gets out of rehab, and then one night she just.
Well, you know why? Because
in the movie, it's
we found out that the ex-boyfriend had a baby, and that's all she wanted. She wanted to be married. She wanted to have that life. Yeah. And I feel like that kind of almost goes back to that 1950s ideology where it's like, that's your role in life is to be a mom, to be a wife, to, live. And her story was just, that wasn't for her, she was made to be an artist.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point for sure. Yeah, in the movie it portrays that she's kind of saying goodbye to her dad, and then the paparazzi are hey, did you hear about him getting them being pregnant? And then it's like fade to black, and then the text comes up and says that she had died of alcohol poisoning. So it's
I think the UK people too, like the famous ones, you've seen it happen for years, and a lot of them get sober or they like Colin Farrell is a great example. Colin Farrell used to he was a partier, he was always in the news for the wrong thing, just being unruly out in public. And then he started a family and he's been sober for a long time now, and made it quite improvement on his career. So Yeah, you see it all. I think it's just hard. So I mean, I'm sure her being so young, coming from the like European background and stuff, I'm sure it was just hard as well, just to kind of like kick that habit as well. So
And I wonder if part of it fed into her artistry because I don't know if like her identity was tied to, okay, well, when I'm loosened up and I've been drinking, I feel more,
right,
I don't know.
Yeah, more
yeah.
calm, more in in the moment on stage. I can be more chill or more like, yeah.
Hmm.
I wonder too. But
And if and for our audience, the movie I have not seen. I heard it was pretty good, but there's a really amazing documentary. I think it actually won an Oscar for best documentary, but it's called
yeah,
Amy.
yep.
And I think you can find it on HBO Max, and some other stuff, Prime and whatever. But really awesome documentary. It kind of goes into more detail of like about her background of her life and her career. So
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, let's move on to the next one. Another female artist that also ended up struggling with substances, unfortunately. And that is I Want to Dance with Somebody, biopic on Whitney Houston. Josh, why don't you share a little bit about Whitney Houston music and how it's been a part of your life?
yeah, so I have not seen the film yet. I know it's been out for a few years now, but Whitney Houston, I grew up in a household full of music, like we were just talking about, and my mom was a singer, and she loved all the popular, amazing voice singers that were, especially females during that time, like the '90s when they were at their top of their game. Celine Dion, Whitney
Hmm.
Houston. Trying to think who else. Um, Maybe not vocally, but like popularity, like Shania Twain. I remember my mom
Sure.
listening
Yeah.
to her huge album that broke a bunch of records and stuff. So, um, my mom loved the "I Want to Dance with Somebody" song. Like there's a video game you used to be able to play on. I had it for PlayStation 2, and you had microphones that plugged into the PS2, and it was called SingStar. And
Yeah, I remember that.
I Want to Dance
Yeah.
with Somebody was one of the songs on there. And I remember the my mom. I got to sing that against my mom one time, and that was really fun. Um, but I did performing arts in college, and I brought my PS2 and I brought SingStar and Guitar Hero over to this party. We had like a rap party or whatever, and I brought it over, and a bunch of my friends in the shows and stuff had never played any of that. And I remember I sang I played against, there were these twin girls, and I am drawing a blank on their name, but they were super sweet. But in one of our variety shows, they sang the Whitney Houston Mariah Carey song from
Okay,
Prince
from
of Egypt,
yeah, yep.
and they did a fantastic job. So when we were at this rap party, I showed them SingStar, and one of them they wanted to sing "I Want to Dance with Somebody" against me, and I was pretty proud of myself because I think I destroyed her at that song. Um, and she was like, "What the heck?" Because like she had a way better voice than I did.
You just had
Um,
more practice because you'd already competed against your
yeah, no,
mom.
I
Yeah.
just, yeah, like I'd played the game before, so because it was kind of tricky. Like the mics would, you sometimes have to, it wouldn't pick up the range always, so you'd have to like kind of, you just had to play the game a bunch.
Mhm.
But anyway, yeah, that's a fond memory. But yeah, my mom, she loved that song, and then I hear that song out and about. My mom, I've talked about it before, but I lost her in 2018, and like music just always reminds me of my mom. She was a singer, but that song in particular, like I Want to Dance with Somebody, just because it's fun. And like Lennon, my son, he likes to hear it sometimes too. So like we'll put it on his Spotify playlist or whatever. But yeah, just fond memories, mainly tied to my mom. My dad, I think my dad, I mean, he didn't mind it. My dad had something against, he didn't dislike Celine Dion, but like, I don't know, just, I think she bothered him some for some
Yeah.
reason.
We all have
He would never,
stances.
he would never say it out loud, but my mom always would bring that up. And then, so I don't know, Whitney Houston for some reason always reminds me of like Celine Dion as well. So,
Sure. Yeah,
but
big
yeah,
big voices.
Yeah, and I
Mhm.
mean, she just had so many, like you can see them on YouTube now, but she had some awesome performances where you're just like, oh my gosh, like, I mean, not just this song, but like some of like that Prince of Egypt song. I know like her Mariah Carey did that at the Grammys one year. It was incredible. And then obviously the I Will Always Love You from The
Yep.
Bodyguard.
Yep.
Like I think that's one of her most popular songs, but um watching old performances of her sing that, like her vocal range was just insane, and she would belt out these things, and she was so tiny too, like she was so
Thank you.
skinny, and the older she got before she passed, she just kept getting skinnier and skinnier from the drugs and stuff. But she, I mean, she made it look so easy. Like it was like she wasn't even exerting any energy. She just
Yeah.
go out there and belt out a tune, and she was amazing. So, yeah, I like her as an artist. I think she'll always be remembered for her voice rather
Mhm.
than the dark times. So, it's good, but I haven't seen the movie yet.
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, we watched it. It was I really enjoyed it. I remember when we saw it, the trailer, and I got so excited because she was just such a 90s icon, and being born in 84, I remember hearing her all the time on the radio. Especially that Bodyguard song. And
Mhm.
then I Want to Dance with Somebody. My friend Amanda did that at karaoke, and it just made me so happy.
Mhm.
But I more remember her for the dark times, unfortunately, because of just everything that she had going on in the news. And I didn't know as many of the songs that I guess she's done. I've actually put her music on my Spotify and just listened to it during work, but just
Mhm.
so talented. And just it stinks that her getting hooked up with who's that
Bobby
guy?
Brown.
Bobby
Bobby
Brown.
Brown. Yeah.
Yeah.
And just that introduction, because I feel like her trajectory could have been so much better. But it's what happened. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that she was very inspirational for a lot of artists.
Yeah. I would say the movie is okay. It's not great. It does kind of fall into the tropes of a musical biopic. That it has all the same kind of normal beats that you get in that. Acting's decent. Does have Stanley Tucci in it, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
To have Stanley Tucci, he's the kind of the record guy that knows.
Clive Davis.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
knew her mom, and then came to hear her mom sing. That's in the trailer. Came to hear her mom sing, and then her mom fakes like she's got a sore throat and makes Whitney go out, and Whitney sings, and then Clive's like, "Okay, we're signing her." So it does have some cool like good heartfelt moments like that. It's got the big moments like the Super Bowl Star Spangled Banner, like that was a big moment
Yeah.
in her career. The Bodyguard, it had those moments, kind of taking that role, because that was a step beyond just the singing and the song, but actually acting in the movie, and that kind of was a big step for her. And I think also it didn't pull the punches with all the other bad stuff too. Like I feel like sometimes in biopics you feel like you're maybe getting a glossed over version of because they just want to kind of
They want to
play
tell the story.
tell the story and kind of downplay some of the stuff. But I felt like in this one they really did do a good job with kind of showing. I'm sure it was probably worse than it was in the movie, but at least it didn't. It kind of gave you a hint of like this is where she's headed. And if it didn't show her doing it, it showed the effects of
Yeah.
all the drugs and stuff. So I mean, it was. She is an incredible artist. The one song I kind of think is. Don't make me cry, one more door shut.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's a
want to
good one.
hurt anymore. That one.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, there was a guy that did it on American Idol in her key, and it was like, by the way, I did that too. I saw I saw him do it, and I was like, I wonder if I can do it, and I was able to do it in my behind closed doors. I was able to hit the note,
Nice.
but the guy that did it on American Idol was epic. I'll try to find it and put it in the show notes. But yeah, I mean, the movie did a good job of telling that story. It wasn't like on the level of like what you think when you got like the Johnny Cash film, which is like Oscar nominated, or A Complete Unknown, Oscar nominated, right? It's not that level, but it's still an enjoyable.
It was good.
It was
Yeah.
good. You get to see the story, and it's acted well. So
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, let's move on. We're going to go to Ray. This one is Jamie Foxx plays Ray Charles, and it really does follow the story of him as a child, uh, being able to see as a child, losing his vision as a child, and then
And
learning
his brother.
and losing his brother. Yeah, and then learning to play piano, and then all the things that he, the struggles he had to make it, like to even get the opportunity to play, because he's blind. People kind of treated him like a less than. That goes into a lot of that, like um, he had to get he wanted paid in singles because then he could count how much money he was getting, because he kept being lied to about how much money he was getting paid. So that's some of the early stuff, but yeah, just I mean, Jamie Foxx won an Oscar for this, so incredible movie. Kristen, why don't you go first? What you got?
Yeah, I thought the whole story itself was just so interesting. I don't know much about Ray Charles except for, a few of his greatest hits, but I really enjoyed, I love learning about people's lives. I think that's just so interesting to me, and like how you got here. I mean, you don't just wake up and you're famous unless, you are, but like for those that struggle and they are just so talented that they're able to just earn their way and make it happen. I just thought, like, especially with the fact that he saw his brother die. That was at such a young age. I mean, that also reminded me of like Johnny Cash's situation too, where his older brother passed and how it affected them. But then they still are able to be artists and still, go on to live their lives. And it tickled me that he was such a ladies' man. He's like, "Let me feel your wrist," and he's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." You explained to me how. I was like, "What's up with that?" And he's like, he's saying how big they are.
Yeah. If they have thin wrists, he believes they're cute. So
crazy.
yeah,
But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
yeah.
Definitely see it.
Another one that didn't pull the punches on the drugs. I mean, he got into heroin very early, and then he hid it from his wife. Then she found it, and he said, "It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect the family. If it does, then I'll stop." And just the constant struggle of the drugs calling for him. And then he ends up having kind of a relationship with one of the singers in his band, and I mean, it doesn't pull any punches in the story, and it shows you kind of the things he did that were wrong. One of the big story points was meeting Quincy Jones, and he kind of comes back later and talks to him about, not playing in the South because of the South, the way that the South is treating black people. And that is a really key moment. He's about to go into a show, and there's protesters outside, and then he basically calls off the show and says, we're not going to do the show, and gets back on the bus. And kind of that ends up being kind of a turning point in probably in America and in music in general, at that time, to have someone as big an artist that he was, Ray Charles, to not play in the South because of the Jim Crow laws. So
That was what, like the 60s? Okay.
I think so.
50s and 60s.
Yeah. So this is an excellent film, and does an incredible job of telling that story, all the ups and downs, and you walk away with, like the other two that kind of have a kind of a downer ending. This one has an uplifting ending, where you see him kind of having redemption in his family and his life and his music. Josh, how about you? What do you have? What's some thoughts on Ray?
Yeah, just to piggyback off what you just said, I mean, you were just talking about how like this one obviously was more of like an Oscar caliber film, and it won a couple of Oscars, including Jamie Foxx, for an amazing performance. I mean, all the piano playing, the singing, it's all Jamie Foxx, and he's just he's one of the most talented people I think in Hollywood. I mean, you go back and watch some YouTube clips of him, like one that comes to mind, we'll put that in the show notes too, but he was on Jimmy Fallon doing the like Wheel of Impressions, like making up versions of, of songs. And it's one of the most insanely talented bits I've ever seen on YouTube. But yeah, he was just, I mean, he was born to play that. Originally, the role was up for Denzel Washington, and he did not, he didn't want to do it. And I'm kind of, I think he knew deep down, because it's not really a role I'm not that Denzel couldn't do it, but I just don't see Denzel being the same. Like Jamie Foxx like embodies singers, and like I mean, just the way he looks. I know there's a lot of like prosthetics and stuff, but they even made him blind like in the movie. Like they put eye prosthetics over his eyes so he was actually blind for 14 hours a day while they shot. And he said it took a lot of getting used to. Like he was very like claustrophobic, and like he didn't know how to like interact with so I mean, he like actually did it all. I mean, it's all really Jamie Foxx doing it. And also they wanted, you were just talking about, they kind of like leave it on a happy ending. They didn't want to leave it towards the later part of his life because there was no conflict. They just wanted to leave it at like leaving on success, and they didn't want to worry about any of the other stuff. So but yeah, it was directed by Taylor Hackford, who I mean, he won an Oscar for a short film he did in the 70s. But he's done a lot of big movies: An Officer and a Gentleman, Devil's Advocate, Blood In, Blood Out, which when I worked at the video store, we used to sell. I think by the time the store finally shut down, in like a 10-year span, the DVD stopped sold. This is brand new DVD copies too, for like $14.95 each or whatever. But I think we sold close to 500 copies of Blood In, Blood Out. There was something, people would come in and ask for that movie. I still to this day have not seen it. I think I think I have it. One that was like, I think it has like some scratches on the disc or whatever. But I just got it for free, so I'll watch it eventually. But yeah, people used to come and ask for that movie all the time. So he's directed some big ones. And then it was nominated for 6 Academy Awards total. And then obviously Jamie Foxx won his, and then I think it won for sound mixing, so just like a smaller award. But the director was up for best director as well that year. So pretty cool. But yeah, Ray Charles. I always think of Ray Charles from the Pepsi commercial in the 90s.
Oh yeah.
The you got the right one, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, they I that's always reminds me of Ray Charles for some reason. So yeah, a good, I mean, he went through a lot. He had a very dark beginning to his life, and even in the middle. And then he lived a long time. I think towards the end he just it just kind of caught up to him at old age and stuff. But really awesome and well made film, like you said. It's definitely more of an of our list of movies that we're talking about. It's more of an Oscar caliber film, and it won some Oscars as well. So,
And Jamie Foxx is from Terrell, Texas, which is a
Right down the
little
road.
town. I mean, well, yeah, about an
Turl.
hour and a half. Terrell?
Turl.
Terrell. I don't know.
Turl. Turl, Texas.
But you drive through and there's a big old billboard.
Nice.
Home of Jamie.
One of the after I had my vocal nodules, we had to get new singers for the band, and so one of the singers was from Turl.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Is that how they said it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Turl.
Turl.
Yeah.
Turl.
One of the other, like, my first introductions to Ray Charles is the song Georgia.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that was a big turning point in the band, in the music, in his music, because he kind of, what we're going to see also in another movie we'll talk about in just a minute is the transition from kind of the way he's always done it with like the jazz band behind him to like, no, I want to do something that's more musical. And he wanted to do a country album, and everybody's like, why do you want to do a country album? And then he wanted to do with the big orchestra and all that stuff. It was like he was trying to express himself and be bigger than what he had been before. And so he had a vision, no pun intended. He had a spiritual vision, obviously, to do something unique and new with the music. But why I know that song first is there was a show back in the 90s called Designing Women. And it was the theme song for that. And I remember the series finale, they actually had him, not on set. They did like a set for him to play the song, and he did it like actually live, and the actresses were kind of standing around the piano. I just remember that.
I have one
show.
real quick. So
Yeah.
the 96 Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, one of the female gymnasts, I cannot remember which one, they did their floor routine to,
Nice.
it had parts of Georgia in it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It was a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Like
And
the music came on, everybody blew up.
Yeah, of course.
his version of Baby It's Cold Outside was in Elf.
Oh, yeah.
For our audience, yeah. So the Ray Charles version is the one that's featured in Elf.
So there's just there's a song that Harry Connick did a cover of a Ray Charles, which I think it was probably one of those old standards on his country album, Don't Fence Me In. And Harry Connick Jr. did a version of that. And then I think there's another song also from that same album that it's funny. Harry Connick Jr. did songs I knew. It was Only You. Only You was ones that he wanted to do that was like all kind of like these old standards, and he was kind of putting a new spin on them. So, but I got introduced to that Ray Charles album because Harry Connick did a cover of it, which is
my mom loved Harry Connick Jr. Yeah. That was one of her favorites.
Yeah, and there's been countless songs that I've been introduced to because Dave Matthews did them as a cover song, and so then Dave Matthews did it. I'm like, oh, that's a Peter Gabriel song. Let me go find the original. So.
Well, that's how the cover you did for the Killers song. I had never heard of that song, and now I'm like, oh, but I like your version better. So,
oh well, thank you, thank you.
No, your version is really great.
It's kind of a different, more mellow version.
It's the Bon Iver twist.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah.
Cool. Well, let's jump into the next one. The next one is an artist that I think I only knew 2 of this guy's songs. And that is Springsteen. This was last year. It was starring Jeremy Allen White. Also has Paul Walter Hauser in it as well. But this was a unique biopic that focused very specifically on him writing songs for one album called Nebraska, and it ended up being a double album. It was deeply personal to him, and he fought, like, with his agent, he fought the record label for a lot of unique things, like no single releases, no tour. Like, he just was inspired to write this album and to have a more acoustic, mellow, folky sound that was completely different than his prior hits, and it threw the record label for a loop. And so this does a really good job of kind of showing where he got the inspiration, showing the relational struggles that he has in that time. But yeah, you got to see this one, Josh?
Yeah, I just watched it this week. Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was good. Actually, one of the first concerts my dad ever took me to was Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. It was in Kansas City, Missouri. I think I was maybe like 8 or 9 years old, maybe a little bit older, but that was like the first big concert I ever went to was Bruce Springsteen. So yeah, it was. I mean, at the time, I probably had no idea. I had heard his name, but I didn't know how big of a name he was, and like how popular he was. I mean, it was at a smaller arena that we went to, but yeah, I mean, Springsteen is definitely iconic in a couple of different genres of music, but yeah, Jeremy Allen White, fantastic. I mean, he learned how to play guitar and sing. Like, that's actually him singing, believe it or not, in the movie. And there's a cool clip of Springsteen hearing him sing for the first time on like record in a recording studio, and Springsteen can't tell the difference. He like literally said, he's like, is this my recording? And they're like, no, that's Jeremy. And he's like, oh my God. And him and Jeremy are like best friends now. And Springsteen actually was the one who told them to cast Jeremy Allen White because he watched him on The Bear. Also, not a Bear reference, but really cool. We just had our conversation with for the Chef's episode, and we talked about a movie and a show called Boiling Point, and Stephen Graham plays the father, Bruce Springsteen's dad, in this movie, and he's the lead actor in Boiling Point. And Jeremy Allen White is on The Bear, which is also a cooking show. So I thought that was a nice little reference. But yeah, it's like a emotionally charged film. It's kind of a slower biopic. I mean, the music stuff and the live music is really awesome when it happens, but a lot of it's just the
Yeah.
storytelling, which that's what you want in a movie anyway. Scott Cooper directed it. I've been a fan of him for a long time. I mean, he did a movie with Jeff Bridges that won a couple Oscars called I think Jeff Bridges won an Oscar for it, called Crazy Heart.
Yep.
Um,
Another musician's
Another,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Black Mass with Johnny Depp, which I thought was great. Hostiles, and
Wow.
Out of the Furnace, and Pale Blue Eye. So he's worked with Christian Bale 3 times. But yeah, really awesome director, a kind of an underrated director, I feel like. Um, but yeah, Jeremy sings and plays guitar. And his eyes look different in the movie, and that's because he's blue-eyed, and they actually gave him brown eye contact, so that's why his eyes look kind of weird in the movie.
Yeah, he's got piercing blue eyes. That's what I
Yeah,
was
for
like,
sure. So
what?
they had to cover those up, but yeah, I mean, if anybody's gonna play that, I think Jeremy Allen White was a great casting. It's a shorter movie for a biopic. It's less than 2 hours, so it's not a long, lengthy watch. And it, like Sprang said, it only focuses on his recording of Nebraska, that album, because that's Springsteen has said that's his favorite album he's ever worked on. And then one last thing, one of the actresses in it, Grace Gummer, she's actually the daughter of Meryl Streep. So
Yeah.
Yes, we saw that.
yeah.
One thing to piggyback on the favorite album is actually Hulu. You can watch this on Hulu right now, and Hulu also has Bruce performing the entire album on a stage as another item you can select to watch. So you can watch the movie to see kind of the story behind making it, and then you could actually watch him perform the album if you're interested. I thought that was really cool.
He is still like very massive too, like as an icon, because I have a good friend who lives in LA, and she travels. She's retired and she travels a lot, and she goes to Ireland sometimes, and she sent me pictures on Instagram last year. It was like middle of last year, but she was at a Springsteen concert in Ireland, and she was like, man, Bruce still. I mean, it was like a huge auditorium, and like he still sells out, and people go crazy for his tour and stuff. So pretty cool. And he's also, for his age, like that guy's in ridiculous shape. Like he runs all the time and works out. Like for his age, he's in great shape. So good on you, Bruce.
Yeah. No, I thought it was interesting how, it is a kind of a slow movie. It's not anything like we've seen with the big drama and the drugs. And I kept waiting for something like that. Cause I'm like, most big artists have some type of issue they've gone through or struggle. But no, I just thought it was good. And again, like these movies have inspired me to listen to their music. So I've been listening to a little bit of Bruce Springsteen, and there's some hits, and then it just kind of goes off the rail. So
yeah, for your style.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way. Kind of like how I mentioned, I only knew Born in the USA, and the other song that I knew of his was Streets of Philadelphia from the Philadelphia soundtrack. That was really kind of on pop radio when I was in high school or whatever.
And then the one where it's like, hey, pretty girl.
Yeah, I don't know that song, but I know of it from the Pete Holmes comedy.
Oh, okay. Oh, I remember that song from the radio.
I don't know that I've heard it on the radio, and I think that's from this album. So they comment on it in the film. The other thing I wanted to mention about Bruce Springsteen is there's actually that I don't think we've watched this one yet, but there's a story. I think it's a true story of a guy, like an Indian kid that's inspired by Bruce Springsteen's music. Did we watch it?
No, we didn't, but I remember that.
And then he ends up going and listening to his music and trying to get his parents to understand. He's like, this guy sings like everything I feel like this guy is singing. So it's crazy to me that somebody like a kid from India can relate so deeply to something from an American folk singer, and it's just, I think that's the beauty, like we've talked about, and why music matters is that it can bridge gaps. Songs have a way of giving voice to things we we don't know how to say in ourselves. But when we hear them, we know, yes, that's how I feel. And that's why, when you're in high school, you make a mixtape and you give it to your girlfriend because you're like, I don't have the words to say. Here's what I got.
Here's all of my love songs for you.
Or when we were dating, we created a YouTube playlist
Yeah.
and I just added songs to it so you know what I was thinking.
And it helps like understand. Well, I don't know if understand is a great term because I love Eminem. I love Dr. Dre, but I'm also as vanilla as it comes. So
yeah.
But just what speaks to you.
Yeah, for sure. But as far as this movie goes, it was a little slower. It was a little bit more just, I think the drama for him was his obsession with this idea, his obsession with doing the album that he wanted to do, he wanted the sound to be how it was when he recorded it on the tape deck, the 4-track tape deck that he recorded it on. He wanted that album on the record, and they're like, we can't do that in the studio. And so like all of that was super interesting for me, like as someone who's been in the studio and knowing like how much that works and knowing how hard it is to replicate things that are lower quality. But he's like, no, I want that on the album. And so it was just a lot of that stuff was interesting. And I think the drama for him wasn't the drugs, it was the relationships. It was the struggle that he had with having a girlfriend, and he's obsessed with making this album and she wants to spend time with him. He doesn't feel like he can give her what she wants because he's like so obsessed with it, so it's definitely, it didn't get a whole lot of great feedback from critics. But I think it's a great story, especially if you like Bruce Springsteen or you like the art of writing and making music. It does a good job of showing you kind of that at a kind of a ground level.
And it was informative too, because I don't know anything about studio time or whatever, just from what I've seen in movies. So
yeah.
Well, and Springsteen also always reminds me. I grew up when Conan O'Brien had like his first talk show, and his drummer in his band was Max Weinberg, who has been the touring drummer for Bruce Springsteen for many, many years. So when I saw him at that concert years ago, my dad pointed that out because we used to watch Conan O'Brien.
And the guitar player was in Sopranos as one of the main characters.
Van Zandt, Steven Van Zandt, yeah. He's his brother, Steven Van Zandt's brother, was the singer. He was in what was it, Leonard Skinner, or he worked with Leonard Skinner for something. Wow. But yeah, Steven Van Zandt is a very famous guitar player too. But yeah, and you kind of see some of that, the Nebraska album, like you see him performing with people at like clubs, and Bruce has always really been into that, like, playing off of other artists and stuff. There's some performances you can watch, I think, like the Grammys, and there's even like just some tour shows that he did that you can see him like collaborating with other guitar players or other artists. I think there's one with Prince, actually, if I'm not mistaken, that's like really awesome. It's like a bunch of guitarists just on stage, and Prince goes off on this solo, but Bruce is just like in awe, but while he's playing chords and stuff. So yeah, really awesome. He's an icon for sure.
The one thing I will say too that I thought was interesting about, last thing I'll say is I thought it was interesting that even while he's a touring artist and he's making an album, he's still going to his local club and getting on stage with the band and playing songs, and then he gets off stage and nobody really like is freaking out about it because it's hometown Bruce. They just see him as old Brucey, from high school there. And
well, that's how it is, right? Like it's like, oh yeah, I knew that guy.
right. So I thought that was cool. It was cool to show in the movie, that kind of like the fact that nobody sees him as anything big when he goes back to his hometown. Well, cool. That brings us to our last movie we're going to talk about today. This one is A Complete Unknown. This is starring Timothée Chalamet. And while he's in hot water right now, he is an incredible actor, and he did an incredible job with this story. I think for me, the standout of the story is, well, one, it shows how he got started, how he got kind of picked up, and the songs, the way that he wrote songs was different than anybody had ever seen before. And the storytelling aspect, and the fact that his obsession with songwriting, was like all encompassing. Has a night with a lady, and then he's up in the middle of the night writing songs, and she's like, what are you doing? Why are you working? Like, I want you to come back to bed with me. And he's like, no, this is life. This is what I do. So just the obsession and what it, how it feels as an artist to just be, this is my life. This is, it's like breathing for him. And then I think the other thing that's interesting too is he kind of makes his popularity, and he gets big based off this kind of American folky style, and he has all these relationships with this kind of folk community. And then he wants to progress and do something different and bring in electric guitars and bring in, solo players. And it was just like, he's transitioning, and it kind of alienates some of his big supporters. But it's like he had to do it and he was kind of bullheaded about it. He's like, no, this is my new sound. And so I'm playing my new sound. You can't stop me. And so it shows a little bit of that conflict as well. But yeah. What are some of your thoughts about?
I liked the movie. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed Elle Fanning's character in it. I thought she did really well. But I didn't really know much about Bob Dylan except for, hang on, help me here, Forrest Gump.
Okay.
So in Forrest Gump, where Jenny was like, I want to be like Joan Baez. And then on her stage name, it was Bob Dylan. So just fun little side note. But yeah, I thought it was good. I think the music was great. Again, like being an artist, he had that passion, and it's just, that's their singular focus. So.
Yeah. Edward Norton was great, as like kind of a supporter from the beginning. Another musician that had his own kind of banjo, and he kind of helped Bob get his start, and then kind of tried to help him navigate the waters as it got further downstream.
And they became great friends.
Yeah. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, so I was really excited when this one got announced, and the movie is really great. It's another one that kind of just focuses on a certain period of time in Bob's career, but my dad, I grew up, my dad's been a diehard Bob Dylan fan ever since I was born. I mean, before that. And so like every year for Christmas, it's usually like, if I can't think of something to get him, it's either like Iowa Hawkeyes related, Bob Dylan related, or, something else that he likes, because it's just hard to shop for. But my dad and I've seen Bob Dylan together twice in Colorado. And then I saw him a third time at Red Rocks, actually. This was right before I moved out of Colorado. But I've seen Bob in the older stages of his career, so it's a little bit more mellow. He still plays with like a full band and stuff. And it's just cool to like say that you've seen somebody like that, because he's so iconic. I don't know if my brother or I were gonna have some form of his name, like Robert Zimmerman, his original name, or Bob Dylan or whatever. I know my dad, I talked about Miles Davis earlier. My dad almost named me after Miles Davis. My brother, his middle name is actually Miles, so
wow.
he got part of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bob Dylan and Miles Davis are like two of my dad's favorites. So when I heard this was announced, all the cast that was in it, James Mangold directed it, who I think is honestly one of the best directors working today. I mean, his resume, he doesn't really have any misses or anything, but yeah, it's a great film. It had 8 Academy Award nominations, didn't win any of them. It was only nominated for 8, but yeah, Timothy, I mean, regardless of the drama right now, he's very talented. James Mangold also did a biopic that we didn't talk about today, but Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash one, which I think that's the first movie I actually saw on his resume. And that Johnny Cash was another person, like I grew up, my dad, showed me some of his early work. But yeah, Bob Dylan, awesome. He actually has a lot of ties to Oklahoma, because there's a I haven't seen it yet, but in Tulsa there's actually a Bob Dylan museum up there. It's the
Wow.
Bob. It's called the Bob Dylan Center for something. But in the movie, his he's trying to follow the legacy of like Woody Guthrie, who that's
Mhm.
like his hero for songwriting and stuff. And Woody Guthrie is from Oklahoma. He's from like an hour outside of Tulsa in a little town. I forget what it starts with an O. I forget the name of it, but um yeah, so Bob's got some ties to Oklahoma, which I live in Oklahoma now. And I think that's pretty cool. I want to take my dad up to the museum
That would be
sometime when
so
he's in
fun.
town. Yeah, it's cool. I think it's just called the Bob Dylan Center. Yeah, Bob Dylan Center in Tulsa, but it's not gigantic or anything, but it's pretty cool. And I think it's cool the direction they took the movie, not
Mhm.
not doing an entire career, because I mean Bob Dylan, that would have been like the Michael Jackson. I mean, that would have
Yeah.
expanded because he's got all his side things that he did. He's got all the like they called them like the bootleg box
Mhm.
sets. I got my dad those when I was little, like the 4-disc sets of like the bootleg years, like 1960 to 1970. So that would have just been too much. So I think they picked a good time frame for Bob Dylan's career, like when he was kind of just getting started. We get to see Joan Baez for a little bit, like Joan Baez and Bob Dylan were married at one time, and they have um the ties to that. So we got to see a little bit of her, which was cool. And the actress, all the actors and actresses, including Edward Norton, they all sang and played guitar for real in the movie, or learned how to play guitar, which is always more authentic. And then I can't remember if Jacob Dylan is
Yeah.
from
Jacob.
Joan, but it's from when they.
I don't know.
No, I can't. I should know that, but I can't remember. But anyway, my dad. I grew up a huge fan of the Wallflowers.
Yeah.
My
Yes.
dad. My dad actually. So they came to Springfield, Missouri. This was when like they were first started the Wallflowers, and I didn't know till years later that Jacob Dylan was like the lead singer of the Wallflowers.
Mhm.
And I found that out. My dad, I don't know if he still has it. He had a poster. He met all of them. He met Jacob Dylan. He met all the people.
That's cool.
But I
Yeah.
remember being like when that hit album came out. I remember like I was like their songs were in movies and stuff. So
Mhm.
I always think of the Wallflowers and
Yeah.
Jacob Dylan when I think of Bob Dylan, obviously. So
Yeah, anytime one headlight comes on, I
Mhm.
remind her that's Jacob.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
Bob
I'm like,
Dylan's
oh my
son.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean now that especially now that he's gotten a little bit older, like you can definitely tell. I mean,
Mhm.
they
look
look
alike.
alike, and they have similar vocal range and stuff. But yeah, it's a good one. Bob Dylan's another one of those, like, he is an icon, especially for the music industry, but like a lot of people probably don't. It's kind of like Springsteen. Like people might know like one or two songs because they were
Mhm.
played in a movie, like The Watchmen. I know they opened
Yeah.
up with
Times they are changing.
yeah, Times Are Changing, or one of my favorites is Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. That's one of my favorite Bob Dylan songs, just because it's so pretty. But
Yeah.
Bob Dylan's been a part of my life since I can remember. So I was super amped when this movie got announced, and then the movie came out, and it was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Very cool.
I have an
Well,
honorable mention.
go for it.
Selena.
Okay.
Oh, nice. That's a great one.
I love that movie. It came out like right before I learned Spanish. So I think it was when I was in
Nice.
middle school. We had to watch it during our Spanish class. And my gosh, I just love her music. So,
Yeah.
and I remember hearing it on the radio too.
Yeah. Very
That
good.
was
But
a
you
well
haven't seen
done
it.
biopic.
No, I haven't seen it, yeah.
I think if I had to do an honorable mention, I'd definitely pick Bohemian Rhapsody, just because
yes.
Queen
Mhm.
is like, Freddie Mercury. They have those lists of like people who passed who you would like to bring back and see live. I mean, Michael Jackson, obviously too, but yeah, Freddie Mercury, I would have
Mhm.
loved to have seen him
Yeah,
sing
I
live.
think the best part of Bohemian Rhapsody was us going into the movie and you going, I don't know any Queen songs.
I
And then
did.
and then she knew every
And then
single
leaving the-
song
Oh.
in the
Yeah.
movie. But it's like you just don't, it's just tough because it's like
You
it's
don't
such-
correlate it.
Yeah.
I've done that with bands like Smash Mouth. I
Mhm.
went to a show in Colorado years ago. Right before I moved, probably like 9-10 years ago. And it was Smash Mouth was the headliner, and then Toad the Wet Sprocket, another 90s band, or the other band, and then what was the name of that other band? They had Tonic.
Oh
They
yeah.
had that song.
Yeah.
If you could only see. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I love that song.
it was like a small venue in Arvada, Colorado, of all places, like a small Arvada, Colorado, at the center. And this woman who shopped at the video store, she had season tickets to all the shows back there. And she was a huge Toad the Wet Sprocket fan, and we thought they were the headliner. And we got there, and then they came on, and then Smash Mouth. We were gonna leave when Smash Mouth came out, and we stuck around. And I like Smash Mouth. They were incredible. I like their keyboard player was insane. He had all this energy. Their drummer was amazing. And then they started playing songs, and I was like, "What the heck?" I was like, "I know like 10 of these songs."
Hey, now
I mean, some of
you're
them
an
are
all-star.
some of them are cover songs, but like
Sure. Yeah.
but they were big in movies. Like,
Yeah.
so once they started playing them, I was like, I know a ton of Smash Mouth
Yeah. The
songs.
Shrek, when
That's
they did the
crazy.
song for Shrek, it was like a
Yeah,
big
Shrek.
deal. Yeah. Believer.
No, I just
Yeah.
it blows your mind when you like you think back, sit back, and you're like, I do know a lot of these
Mhm.
songs.
Yeah.
But yeah, Queen is definitely one of my all-time favorite bands. So
For sure.
Bohemian Rhapsody was very well done as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other one that came to mind for me was Rocket Man with
Oh,
Taron
good one.
Egerton.
Yeah.
That one came out a few years ago. Same year, I think, as Bohemian Rhapsody. And then Elvis, just a few years ago.
Elvis was really
Baz
good.
Luhrmann's. So we couldn't fit them all in, guys.
Oh,
There's
there
Better
so
Man too.
many.
Better Man.
Better Man.
Yeah.
They,
Did
that
you
one
see that
didn't
one?
do very well at the box office, but I watched it with my dad in Austin last year, and I was like, "Holy cow, this movie's!" I don't think people know about this movie. It's
I
so
think
good.
it's the one that we took off the list because
It's about Robbie Williams.
It's Robbie Williams,
but
and he's
they did it as him as a CGI chimp.
Oh,
chimpanzee.
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but like,
Yeah.
I wasn't
yeah,
gonna
like
watch it.
his, I had no idea he was in like a pop group, and
hmm
like the music was really good. The
Mhm.
way they showed everything was really good. And I guess the chimp was supposed to represent Robbie's always said he thought he was like a gorilla or I don't remember what he said, but that's why they went with that route. But yeah, for our audience, that's a really fun one. Better Man. It's got some good songs in
If
it.
you can get past the fact that it's a CG chimp,
I just couldn't do it. I was
she couldn't do it. I tried.
Well,
I had it.
I didn't even when the trailer came out, I was like, I didn't even know it was a biopic. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? And then
Yeah.
actually shout out to CJ Sidekick Inc. He kept posting on Instagram. He's like, I've seen it 5 times. He's like, it's so good.
wow.
That's
I
amazing.
finally sat down and watched it with my dad, and I was like, holy cow, this movie is awesome. But
I think
I didn't see it on the big screen.
Yeah, I think the CG chimp just threw people off, and
Yeah,
not to
well,
mention
that's why
too, like,
people probably didn't go. So
and because American artists aren't necessarily too familiar with Robbie Williams as an
Sure,
artist. Like, he's a
absolutely.
British artist that is huge, and he made some hits in the States, but it's not one of those household names that people know and recognize. And then I think add on top of that he's not even a human, isn't even portraying in the movie.
Correct.
I feel like it was a creative swing, and obviously the movie is great, but I think those are the things that kind of
It
made
definitely
certain
throws
people
it
not
off.
wanna-
Yeah.
not
I'll
wanna
watch
see
it eventually.
He's another artist
I'm
where
gonna
like
hold you to that.
like I didn't know. I knew that one song that was huge in America. That
Mhm.
the video was crazy, where he's like taking his skin off and stuff.
Mhm.
I think it was called like Millennium or something.
Yep.
That's the only song I ever knew. And then when I was listening to watching the movie, I was like, I've never heard these songs, but they're fantastic. So
Yeah.
I can see why he's big in the UK. So
Yeah, another
Crazy.
UK artist that I always think of is Kylie Minogue, because she had like one state hit,
Yes.
but like she's like huge Like she's very talented, but she only had like one state hit. And then I remember seeing, speaking of someone else who's in hot water right now, Justin Timberlake. I remember seeing them perform together on the Brit Awards, and it was just like so awesome.
Yeah,
to see them
she's
perform together. It's cool.
she also popped up in a few movies over the years too. Kylie Minogue. I was trying to think of the one. I think the one I'm thinking of off top. Well, she was in Street Fighter, which we're getting a new Street Fighter. She was she played Cammy, who was like the military. She wore like a beret and whatever. I'm trying to think.
Shout out to Matt Spokioki. He's going to be on our Street Fighter episode. We confirmed it last night in our live stream. So that episode's coming up pretty soon.
She was in the movie that throws me off all the time. She was in Biodome with Pauly Shore.
Oh, nice.
She was one of the main like scientist women in Biodome. So
nice.
Every time when I was younger and I saw that movie, I didn't know who that was, and then I saw a music video of hers or something, and I was like, "Is that Kylie Minogue?"
Can't
I was like, "She's
get
in
you
Biodome."
out of my head.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Yeah,
that's the one.
But yeah, she pops up. I mean, her IMDb resume is insane. It's mostly music videos, but she's got like 128 credits. But yeah,
awesome.
That's a fun singer to throw out there.
Yeah, cool. Well, thanks, Josh, for joining us. Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
You're always here now, so I mean, thank you anyway. But you're always here. Thank you for.
I always love when Kristen can come on.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I actually feel like I was excited to share my thoughts, and I just love music. So.
Yeah, and she will be back next week. She'll be back next week for our fashion episode to get ready for Devil Wears Prada 2. So if you like seeing Kristen, show her some love in the comments.
Show me love.
Cool. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to jump over to our website, moviestomakeyoupodcast.com, see all of our links. Follow us on Instagram so you never miss an episode, a live stream, or an interview. And until next time, keep watching movies.